may take an hour to get here, so anyway, we know we have that weakness. But where we're budgeted right now, we're down 4, and we've included 2 in the budget, which, city manager, does include units, right?
We're gonna finance those units. with
Okay,
this.
so really it doesn't include the units, but we've got that in there, that could take us up to 20. Now, we don't know about whether we're gonna get that COPS grant or not, you know, again, that's just a punt, we don't have any idea. But if we were to get that, that would give us up to 22. And so as we go through this budget, we have a lot of things to consider, a lot of things to look at. But I would make footnotes on this item, we're at 1.9 million, to add, so the way that I understand over what we've got right here, really you're looking for 2 more, because that would, are you looking for 4 more or 2 more? Because, are you counting the COPS grant? Are you-
Not counting the cops grant, we're looking for 4 more.
Okay.
For what's budgeted.
So if we get the COPS grant, you get 2 more. If we
That's
don't,
that would be excellent.
okay. So what we have to do is we have to consider that. We have to consider, okay, really, as we look at all this stuff, and the same thing for Ram's department, for Hector's department, for everybody else, you know, we've got to make sure that we keep what we got, and make sure we take care of that. So I would definitely make some footnotes by the police office, the police department, about, you know, what we need to do there. You've heard his request about what he would want, which according to the city manager, again, Fred, and again, if we were to say yes, but it really wouldn't be 100,000 because we would probably finance the vehicles as well.
Well, you'd have to find a way to address the tax rate. So you have to find a way to once we finance them, we would affect your tax rate on the INS side.
Okay.
So it's not affecting it on the M&O side.
Okay.
I don't wanna get into.
Okay,
It does affect.
it just gets a little bit more complicated in that, but it does. So would you say that in order to meet the chief's needs, we need to look at 400,000? Is that kind of?
If we're adding 4 additional positions on top of the 2,
Yes.
we're looking at adding. Salary benefits, $300,000 salary.
300,000.
That sound about right, James? 300,000 salary benefits, or is that?
For 4?
Am I spitballing? No, I'm talking just, for 4 positions. Yeah. 75,000.
Yeah, probably a little more, about 85.
So it's about
Okay.
370,000.
But that's no vehicle, that's just
Yeah. Okay.
salary benefits.
Yeah. And again, if we did that, we'd have to get units, you know, so anyway, make those footnotes, you know, so that we can see over all the big picture stuff. And again, yeah, Chief,
And that's,
of course,
to what you
of course.
explained. On that note, don't let the vehicle scare you, because we will, you give us positions and we'll make it work. We're making it work right now. We're not stopping, we're not going and begging for help. I'm here, I might sound like I'm begging y'all, which it may be me begging y'all, but I'm not out there begging for somebody to come do our work for us. We're gonna do our work, and can you go back to the 3rd slide? Where it has the population. I just want that to be burned in y'all's minds with just compared population. With more population come more calls. With more calls and less officers, it means less visibility. I don't know how better to explain it, but we have over half the population of the county, and I think our department needs to reflect, or at least get close to matching the number. I believe it would be acceptable.
Chief, I'm sorry, you live in a position, is there a preference as far as odd versus even number of positions being, if you were to ask for 2 or 4 as opposed to 1 or 3 or 5, if that makes sense, what would is there a preference there, does it matter?
The preference is gonna be even, but at this point, we'll take any responsibility.
And Chief, looking at your numbers, that's based on fully staffed. But so really, the delusion is much greater, because
Yes.
every time I ask Chief, it's like, we're at 14, you know, it is. We get one, and we lose one. We get one.
We've been at around 14 for
Yeah.
over a year now, just about.
So I mean, 14 out of 18, quick do the math, but that's like 35%. I mean, that's a pretty big reduction down.
And then just if you go to I'm sorry, it was the 5th the fifth slide,
Per capita?
yes. Let's just look at that one more time, let's just look over here. Pearsall PD is at 18, that's fully staffed. Dilly PD is at 14, they're fully staffed when they have that amount. Freedom County is at 25, that's 25 that I know of. Remember, they can always, if they have peace officers working in the jail, they can always pull from the jail to assist them. It's just one of those things where you just look at the ratio, we just gotta get better. We have to.
And when we look at this grant, Fred, is this grant, are we prepared to forecast, let's just say the grant were to expire?
That's
In those
gonna be
positions?
You're right, in 3 years it will expire. It's, and it's not a continuous grant, so it's gonna be 3 years, and then we have to make adjustments, whether it's, you know, expenses, reducing expenses for other departments, or increasing taxes, or whatever the case may be. But to answer your question, at some point, we will have to make that adjustment. Probably year 2, we start looking at making adjustments to why we're gonna address this after year 3 is out.
But they can always apply for another grant.
I don't believe so. Those positions, the way it happens is they pay for 3 years, and then and then once the 3 years are up, once you've exhausted those 3 years, then the city has to automatically either keep those positions on staff or
Oh, you're talking about the officers that are paid through the grant?
yes.
Oh, okay, I
Yes,
get it,
ma'am.
okay.
And
So-
it is, so we have to keep them on for 4 years after that, or 1 year
I
after
think
that?
it's,
1 year.
One
I
year.
believe it's 1 year, the city's required to keep the officer.
Yeah.
After that, they can determine whether they wanna.
I think the
Keep-
challenge is
keep them.
on those end is if once you staff them for a year, I mean, it'll be kind of going backwards to say, we'll staff them this year and then let go of them, a year later, so it wouldn't make sense for us to pay for a year and then not pay for the next year, especially if they've been working this for a while.
And this grant is for fully to cover their salaries?
75% from what I remember.
Yeah, I think
It's not like the, anywhere, like the SB 22, right, to get, it's not anything like the SB 22 grant, where it's gonna be able to allow them to use some of that grant money to get them to that base, that maximum salary.
No, I don't believe so.
No?
And I believe the grant is only gonna cover the salary, it's not gonna include,
The fringes or anything like that?
everything that Mr. Hernandez will put.
Well, council, that, chief, again, I'm speaking for myself, I think I speak for the council, I'm very appreciative of what you do and your guys. We know how hard they work, and you talk about the investigator side, and so I know, you know, but the cool thing is you're fully staffed on the investigator side, so that's a.
We're lacking one.
We're lacking one, we have 3 instead of 4, okay. Well, anyway, so those numbers are huge, and again, it's just a backlog and a backlog, and unfortunately, every day we get new criminals, and it's ongoing. So, I'm sure there's many things that we're gonna see that are very worthy and important for us to consider. So just put a star by that one, and as we look at all of them, we're just gonna have to weigh what we can do. Chief, I know we wanna do as much as we can, and there's tons of reasons why that we do. Unfortunately, there may be some limits to that.
I understand.
So,
Just know this, and I want the citizens to know this, and regardless of what we're given or not given, we're still gonna give them the same, and not better than what we're doing. That's the goal. We're not gonna stop doing our job. It's just one of those things where for everything you give, you're gonna get something taken away. We can't put more patrol out there, and so I can't move investigators to go work patrol to increase visibility without them falling behind on cases. And I can't pull patrol officers to come work investigations to get some cases knocked out, because we are backlogged right now. Because then you're not gonna see any cops, and there's not gonna be any cops taking reports. And they're gonna be so stretched in, the call times are just gonna be outrageous, ridiculous.
I'm tired and, no.
And we appreciate everything you guys, believe it, we do. It's just our duty to assist you to see what we can do in our end and utilize every single resources we can possibly utilize to help you get to where you need to.
And on that note, we have coffee Wednesday, is that right?
Yeah.
Coffee
Yes.
Wednesday. So, y'all, if you get a chance, if your schedule
Yeah, it's
allows.
at Garcia.
It's at
Yeah,
Garcia.
It's great, at, what time, Chief?
7 a.m.
7? So try to make it, support these guys, they're, so anyway, Chief, thank you very much, great presentation,
Thank you.
good numbers, a lot for us to cogitate on and chew on and see what we can do, and, you know, we're gonna try to do as much as we can, I mean, can't promise anything, but, we see the need, I see the need.
If nothing else, if y'all just walk away, just knowing what those numbers are.
Yeah.
If nothing else, we're sending Talamantes, me and Fred, we're going to Police Academy.
Okay, the world just saw that. More power to you all. Okay, all right, Chief, anything else? Thank you, great presentation. Staff, Lieutenant, Captain, thank you guys for coming. Now, I guess you're all going. All right, Fred, what do we got next?
I believe streets is next.
Streets.
Good evening, Mayor, Council, CM, Jennifer.
Okay, Mayor, I do, just for the record, I do have Councilman, Mayor Pro Tem James Leal.
Okay, welcome, Councilman Leal.
All right.
You there?
6:53.
Yeah, Aurora did, she was on the roll call, correct?
Correct, yes, sir.
And do for the record, at, I think it was 6:45, Councilwoman Garza, at the park. Did you get that down?
Yeah, I have it at 6:41, yes, sir. And then I have 6:53 for
All right,
James.
guys. We ready?
Ready?
I want to skim through this because we got a lot to go through. So I'm just going to do the first one, get it out of the way. Hopefully y'all had time to read through this, but page 1 is the cover page of streets. Second page is just a little introduction to my street guide here. What we have, not a big deal, not too much. It's just basically what we do on a daily basis, every day, every single Monday to Friday, sometimes on the weekend, depending on the weather. And going over to the third page, like the mayor said, we get right down to the meat and potatoes. Street improvements. This is our major thing in the streets. It's our bread and butter here. This is something we started, 2 years ago. And,
I'm sorry, you do the next one. Can you hear me?
no, I'm good. I'm street improvements. The page before that was just an introduction to the street guys. It's who we are and how many we got and what we do and stuff like that. This one here is just just an explanation of what we did 2 years, what we started 2 years ago with the 2020 council. And if you mow down over to the next page, it displays the streets that were picked from that council. And the striped out ones are the ones that we've done already. So if you have any questions on that, I mean, you can ask me at any given point, I'll stop. But this is basically what we have here. At some point during this presentation, I will ask you whether to continue with these streets or not. That said, if you go to the next page, it'll show the original list that we had, that comprise there. And those are the 2 lists that are in question. Do you have any questions so far?
You guys need, y'all, we could go to an aerial view. Do you wanna see some of these streets? We can look to see what we could probably look at the conditions on Google Maps.
And if we do that, I would suggest Google Earth. Google, just regular Google, it just won't display, it only displays 480 pixels.
Do we need to?
Hector, don't we have another street, the street that we in the county did together is not on here?
It's on there, it's number 2 on the list, strike it out.
Or will, Moreno?
Moreno, yeah.
Right here,
Yeah,
yeah.
and this is just an explanation and identifying the streets that we picked and we've done, the ones we're suggesting, and later on in this presentation, I should have put them up in the front, but you'll see the photos from the before and after. So they're all in there, all 4 of them are in there. I believe I'd be able. But before we get to that, I'd like to go to the noteworthy changes here. Now, these are the changes to the budget that we did, that we proposed for this upcoming budget year. I don't know if y'all have any questions on that. Next page, Chris. On any of these, I can explain any of them. I try to justify them on the right there, but if you ain't had a chance to look at it, I mean, you can ask away.
Mayor,
Yeah, Councilman. Go
Hector,
ahead.
I got a question.
Go ahead.
Now, these proposed streets that y'all are proposing to repair, are they going to be a seal coat or are they going to be a complete overhaul?
It's a complete reconstruction. That's up for debate, I guess, for lack of a better.
What we've been doing is we did, 3 that were complete reconstruction and 1 was what we call a seal coat, chip seal, whatever you wanna call it. I did get, the word gets kind of confusing, but the Moreno Street, if you ever get a chance to drive Moreno Street and the other 3 streets that were done, you can see the difference.
If I may add, all 4 of them were complete reconstructions. The only difference was one was paved and overlaid versus seal coat, which is the chip seal.
Hector,
Yes.
so when we say complete reconstruction, is that also going with new base underneath it, or is that just taking off the top surface and then redoing all the asphalt?
Just to recap, everything gets reconstructed. Everything gets redone, no matter whether we chip seal or overlay.
He's asking if there's new bases.
It's all new base. Nothing gets replenished or recycled. Nothing gets recycled.
Okay, so how much of the base do we replace, or is just a couple of inches of the base that we're removing, or do we actually take the full amount of the base? Cause I know on some streets that we did previously, the issue wasn't so much the asphalt, it was the base underneath it that was giving.
Which streets were before me or?
Well, no.
This was way before your time, Hector.
Oh,
This is
okay,
over there
okay.
by Trevino Street.
Oh,
Yeah,
I
this
see.
was over there by Trevino, where we had the drainage issues and all that.
Yeah, that was an overlay, James. None of the base was reconstructed. It was all just an overlay of what was already there. And that's why you have a rise in the street surface. None of that, yeah, that's seal, that traditionally that's called seal coat. And, we've only done that to Moreno Street, nothing else. Everything else has gotten overlaid, paved over,
Okay.
I should say.
Now, this is kind of small, but do we have like a 3-year, 4-year, 5-year plan where we can start looking into next year and so forth, where we can get a plan going, where we can start doing, infrastructure, streets and so forth, already lined up?
Well, it's basically what,
I'll help you with that if you can.
but go ahead, you wanna speak on that?
Yeah, what we're gonna do is, what we'd like to do again year to year, and I know it was tough during COVID to budget for this, because we did budget initially for COVID, we budgeted $300,000 to do work. Because of the decrease in revenue, we took that out as a budget, I think in 21 and I believe in 22. But we started doing some work, and so the idea, what I would propose to the city council, and I hope that we can move forward with this, is to budget at minimum $300,000 a year, at minimum for the next 5 years. That'd be about $1.5 million over the next 5 years. If we could get to, which I'd like to get to $500,000 a year, that would be about $2.5 million of street improvements over a 5-year period. But at minimum, I would ask the council to budget at least $300,000 and make it a point to invest something in our streets. And I know it's tough because sometimes you guys will get the complaints, well, you're not fixing anything underneath. I get all that. The challenge we have, all like anything else, is if you start fixing everything underneath, those dollars don't go very far. So there has to be some improvements. We've talked about doing seal coats. We've talked about doing asphalt, the overlays. What you'll see, and again, you can see in the quality as far as what's used, the material that's used, how to me the surface and how much smoother it is. You can see the contrast, at least in my opinion. So it does cost more. In saying that, I would ask the council to make a commitment to budgeting at minimum $300,000 a year One of the things that I've seen in another community, well, actually my hometown, is what they've done is they've partnered with other communities around the area. And so what they do is they agree to hire a contractor. And they'll all say, hey, we're all gonna do X amount of work per year. And so let's assume that by 3 or 4 cities, if we can do this, which I think we can, if we can maybe partner up with the Dillies, your Idols, or Divines, and have a contractor come and do that work. It's economy of scale for us, meaning if we can basically say that we have a